Ever since Jamal lost Parinita, he had slumped into depression. He spent his days slouched in his room or by a garden bench, writing poems of grief and loss. Parinita was the only woman he had ever loved and ever will. Losing her had put him in a state where he didn't find anything interesting anymore. The problem wasn't that Parinita wasn't there anymore. The problem was he had lost all hope of finding her ever again. It was the hopelessness that was eating him up from the inside. He didn't take care of his body. He isolated himself from his family and spent hours and hours thinking, sometimes crying or smoking cigarettes. His habits were slowly taking a toll on his life. He wasn't himself anymore. Days passed, weeks went by. His parents were now beginning to get worried. His life was tumbling downhill in front of their eyes, and they could do nothing to help him. One day, Jamal's mother walked into his room. The sight of him choked her throat with sadness. He was laying on the bed with his shoes on, blue patches under his sleepless, reddening eyes, a half-burnt cigarette slinging from his fingers, an overgrown beard reeking of its smoky stench, and a room overflowing with clutter. She dragged him from the bed. He thumped down on the floor with his back against the bed. His mother asked him to dress up, saying that they were going for a meeting. He was reluctant. He didn't want to go. He kept sitting there for about half an hour. When his mother returned to the room, she couldn't help but utter a cry. The cry succeeded in jolting him from his depression, for he stood up, made her sit down, and agreed to dress up. He still loved her, but it was the intense grief that had turned him into a shadow that feared expressing its love to anyone, including her. He went to the bathroom. After dozens and dozens of hours living in his dark world, he was finally looking like a gentleman. "Where are we going?" Jamal asked his mom. "To Kaligati." "Kaligati?" he asked curiously. "Yes, to meet Atanga Baba." "Atanga Baba, why?" he asked. She told him that he'd know after reaching there. When they finally reached the Kaligati, he realized it was to do something with him. His mother had brought him to meet Atanga Baba so he could help him come out of his grief. He became enraged. "I don't want to meet him," he said angrily. But he had no choice. Their voice had already reached an assistant of Atanga Baba, and he was now coming towards them. In the next few moments, he was sitting cross-legged in front of Atanga Baba, his eyes closed in meditation, and his hands splayed over his knees as he sat cross-legged on a raised platform inside the cave. The cave was cool and built in orange stone. In one corner of the cave was a pond where colorful fishes swam above a bed of colorful pebbles that made the water seem rainbowy. After silence of about 5 minutes, Atanga Baba opened his eyes and gazed straight into Jamal's eyes. His mother was about to tell him about Jamal when he stopped her with a palm. He looked into Jamal's eyes and said, "Parinita is alive." Electricity rushed through Jamal's body. He stood up and sprawled on Atanga Baba's feet. "Where is she?" he asked passionately. "Don't worry, you'll meet her again." "But when?" he asked with tears streaming down his eyes. "Trust your destiny's plan. You'll meet her when you are ready." At first he thought he was lying. But then he gave a necklace to him that made him believe in what Atanga Baba had said. The pendant of the necklace was encrusted with a shiny green-colored stone, and inside it was a tiny gold heart. He couldn't forget this necklace. He himself had gifted it to Parinita one evening when they visited a fortress. From the very next day, Jamal's demeanor changed. He stopped being lazy and depressed. He started going to work and dressing up like it mattered. He started taking care of his body. On the surface, nothing had changed. but subconsciously something had shifted inside him. Earlier he had lost all hope. But now, after what Atanga Baba told him, his hope returned and he wanted to remain ready all the time, in each moment, to encounter and meet Parinitha. He could still wait all his life to meet him, but now he had hope. This hope was slowly transforming his life. Back in the cave, a tear rolled down Atanga Baba's eyes. Parinitha was an orphan, and she spent her entire life calling him her father. The day she had died, she had asked him to promise that he would trick Jamal into being happy, so he wouldn't ruin his life. And Atanga Baba had asked his mom to bring him so he could help him recover. His mother didn't understand, but knowing him as a great sage, she had agreed. The very greenstone necklace that had taken Parinitha's life was now saving Jamal. The necklace had gotten entangled in a bush, and a Nagini had bitten her. The poison had killed her. Atanga Baba knew that she would return in a new form to meet Jamal. And until she did, he needed to ensure that Jamal survived and not ruined his life. Sometimes, it's the anticipation of getting something more than getting it that makes a person alive. Loss of something or someone is painful. But what's more painful than that is the loss of hope. As long as the anticipation is there is hope. And as long as there is hope, there's something to look forward to. Never let your hopes die. And have a little faith.